Hello, my name is Jane Cawley, and I'm a member of the research team at Dalhousie University. Welcome to the Physical Literacy in the Early Years, PLEY, webinar series. We are offering this six-part series to enhance your knowledge of outdoor play and learning as you participate in the PLEY School project. Here are the topics of the 6 mini webinars. The topic for this webinar is risky play, which we know is a subject of interest for families and all others who work with children. What is risky play? Ellen Sandseter, a Norwegian researcher on risky play, asked young children how they feel when they engage in risky play. And here are some of the responses. It's thrilling, but I get a bit scared. It tickles my tummy. It's scary and fun at the same time. Risky play is thrilling and exciting forms of play involving uncertainty and the chance of physical injury. Risky play is a type of play that involves thrilling, exciting, and physically challenging activities like climbing, jumping, balancing, or even rough and tumble play. These activities provide a sense of fun, enjoyment, and excitement, and children thrive on them. The addition of loose parts might add another element of risk. Risky play is not about children engaging in unsafe, reckless behavior or being pushed beyond their own abilities. And it's certainly not about letting them play in dangerous areas such as near train tracks or deep water. Why is risky play important? Risky play allows children to challenge themselves physically by climbing a little higher, running a little faster, or jumping a little further. Emotionally, feeling out of control and then regaining control, feeling fear and then overcoming fear. This is all parts of self-regulation. And cognitively, learning how to solve problems, learning about their own boundaries and that of the environment around them. Engaging in risky play can reduce the risk of injury. So what does Mariana Brusoni mean by that? Children learn how to self-assess and to assess the environment, which leads to an ability to make wise decisions about their own capabilities. Why is risky play important? Research is showing that risky play positively affects children's health, development, and well-being. Here are 2 important findings from the research of Dr. Brusoni, who I'm delighted to say is a Canadian researcher. We found that play environments where children could take risks promoted increased playtime, social interactions, creativity, and resilience. These positive results reflect the importance of supporting children's risky outdoor play opportunities as a means of promoting children's health and active lifestyles. I've mentioned Dr. Brusoni throughout this webinar. Here she is answering commonly asked questions in an interview by Breakfast Television, Vancouver.
8:23, Dr. Mariana Brusoni joins us this morning to talk about risky play. What is it and why should our kids be participating in risky play? Let's start off with, let's imagine there's a parent watching, or maybe it's me, and I want to keep my son kind of under my armpit. Why should we let them participate in risky activity?
Well, the research is really building in terms of the importance of risky play for kids. So, you know, even for yourself and for most people of our generation, you can probably imagine what play was like for you as a child. You know, a lot of adults talk about just being left to go outside on their own and wander the woods or wherever they wanted to do until the streetlights came on. And if you think about the play that you engaged in, all the stuff you got out of that play, so figuring out for yourself what you wanted to do and how you were going to achieve your goals, figuring out how the neighborhood worked, who lived where, feeling confident and independent, and resilience. And so the research is backing that up, right? That those kinds of activities really have a positive effect on children's development and well-being, their sense of accomplishment, lower anxiety and depression levels, and those sorts of things.
So when I was a kid in the 80s and I said to my mom after breakfast, bye, I'm going to play store in the woods with the pussy willows all day. I mean, we just called it play. When did this risky play term come into play?
Yeah, and it's really, I think 2009 is when it first appeared in the academic literature. And it's a term, we didn't need a word for it before because it was just things that kids did and nobody thought to limit them. But we found that over time, kids were being allowed to do less and less and less of it with parents and other caregivers kind of swooping into, not so high, you know, watch out. And so we had to come up with a term in order to figure out what happens when kids don't experience it.
So I know some moms personally, and I imagine there's some moms watching right now, maybe some dads, aunties, grandmas, and they do have that instinct to keep their kids close. Let's maybe give some examples right now of the benefits of risky play, and maybe that'll plant a seed of letting the kids go a little bit further this long weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even if you think about it, you know, like, think about it from the child's perspective. Let's say you're at the playground and your child is trying to, say, climb a little higher than you're comfortable with. For them, they're thinking about, okay, how do I move my body? How does the world work? They're figuring all that out for themselves. Let's say you come and swoop in and say, no, get down, stop. So what they're learning is that somebody else needs to decide for them what's safe, that they can't figure that out from themselves. That may affect their self-confidence. And they also get to think that the world is a scary place and dangerous place.
I'm overwhelmed with guilt right now because a couple weeks ago I was in Steveston with my kids and there's this climbing tree down by the docks and I did do that. Oz, please get down, dude, you're way too high. And you know what he did? He ignored me and kept climbing. So I think maybe I'm doing something right other than that. Can we talk about how a parent or a child care provider can deal with their fear over letting the kids go?
Yeah, so we've developed a tool at outsideplay.ca because it's hard. We want to do the best for our kids. It's hard to let go of these fears. And so the tool takes parents and anybody else who goes on it through a series of kind of self-reflection. You know, how do I actually approach this and does it make the most sense for me? And gets them to a point where they can make a very simple goal that they can then implement and kind of build on. It could be something as simple as, you know, the situation where your son was climbing a tree. You know what, next time I'm going to count to 30 before I say anything.
Nice one.
Yeah, something as simple as that. So then you can just watch it play out for yourself and see how capable your child actually is.
Let's flip it around then. What if you've got a really hippy-dippy parent who's just, do whatever, buddy, yeah, that's it. So then you've got this child that has an innate sense of fear about risky play. How can you encourage them to participate?
Well, so the point is not to push kids. So the really important aspect of risky play is that it's in the eye of the child doing it, right? So it's not for you or me to decide what's risky for that child. And so a child, you know, kids, you can see it in the playground. Some kids are shooting straight up to the top of that climber. And some kids are like, you know what, I'm okay down here. And that's up to them. It's up to them to decide. So really, we want to give them the space. And for parents, it's like, it's not about either pushing them or stopping them, but supporting those kids in the decisions that they want to make.
And I think the benefits as well, I know I've read some of your work, and there's so many benefits like mental health and physical prowess, right?
Yeah, and physical activity, right? So kids get more engaged. They actually want to go outside to play because it's fun, right? Not stay home inside or on screens or those sorts of things.
All right, well, if you've been holding your child tight, send them out to a tree this long weekend, and then we'll see you online afterwards. You can let us know how it went. Thank you so much for joining us on Breakfast Television this morning.
In conclusion, we're going to have a look at the adult role in risky play. We provide an environment, spaces, where children can freely explore. We provide interesting materials that children can examine, manipulate, and experiment with. Sometimes children have play ideas that include some risk. Yes, it's our job to assess with the children the possibility of reasonable risk. This does not mean that we should stop the play. Instead of telling a child not to climb so high, take a moment, or as Bersoni advises, 15 to 30 seconds, to observe the child's confidence, motivation, and competence before reacting. She also acknowledges, though, that sometimes an immediate response will be necessary. The adult's job is to teach children to ask questions. Am I strong enough? Is that stable for my body? Is there a chance I might fall? Do I know how to fall safely? Be thoughtful and flexible when creating rules. Because what is risky for one child is not for another. And what was risky for a child last month may no longer be a risk as physical literacy skills develop. Thank you so much for watching webinar 6 on risky play. Please feel free to rewatch and/or share any of the materials provided in the 6 mini webinars. And I look forward to meeting you all soon.